I don't think I've ever felt more superfluous in my life. The next kind of 15 minutes is, I kind of might as well not do this. So we're ending early. What I will say is, one thing that kind of amuses me is when we were launching in the US, which was about 18 months ago, and this is as Shutl, we had a kind of a tagline that we were going live with, which got turned off on day one. Our PR people said absolutely not, and I think it would have worked. It was the world's fastest delivery for the world's most impatient people. So I kind of regret that we didn't do that. So I'm Tom. I set up Shutl about 4 and a bit years ago, 5 years ago now. We were acquired by eBay about this time last year. So I now head up a business for eBay called Local, and Shutl is one of the businesses that's in Local. And I'm actually going to start by talking to you very briefly about a different business, but a business that got me into delivery 11 years ago. So I used to be a user of courier services, and I had a very bad experience with a courier company, which led me to get into an argument with the CEO of that courier company. And I might have told the guy that I thought I could do a better job, and he might have encouraged me to do so in a very roundabout manner. And as a result, I started looking at the same-day courier market, but back then it was the B2B same-day courier market. So same-day delivery has been around for a little while. My first business was this, a company called Ecourier, which if you live, work, or play around London, you might know as a kind of the purple van courier company. In 2003, we launched this business, and essentially I thought that the courier market was an underserved market, and I thought if you could create a courier company that was that much better than anyone else's, well then you would clean up. And the idea was simply that spent a lot of time around traditional courier operations and saw what the challenges were to these businesses that were limiting their ability to deliver both a great customer experience and also significant profitability. And our solution was to build a technology platform that intelligently matched deliveries to couriers in real time. We had 90-odd% of our orders coming in over the web. So this was our first online booking form. Again, this is 11 years ago. We implemented GPS tracking on all deliveries to try and stop customers from calling us. So consumers would get, or customers of our service would get an email. They'd be able to click through, track delivery. Again, this is pretty basic stuff now, but we were doing this over a decade ago. When a package got delivered, we sent an email to the person who'd sent the package to say, hey, package has been delivered. This is the person that signed for it, to prevent, ostensibly, those people from calling us to say, where's the package? Now, I left this business after 4 and a bit years, and it was sold at an okay price soon after. The business is actually still around today. However, it was clear to me that this wasn't a business that was going to change my life, let alone the world. And the reason for that was quite simple, which was we got the market completely wrong. The B2B delivery market was decreasing as people were sending more and more things by email. And actually, we weren't solving that big of a problem. And what I mean by that is, with business to business, your customers are at work all day and you're delivering to work. It's not that big of a deal if a delivery is a little bit late, because guess what? There's going to be someone there to sign for the package. And so I kind of realized after 4 years, and yes, it did take a very long time, that the opportunity was not actually in B2B, it was actually in B2C, which was obviously growing rapidly off the back of e-commerce, and suspected that there was probably a slightly greater customer opportunity to solve. So I'm going to play a video for 60-odd seconds that'll save me talking for kind of 20 minutes. And I'm going to apologize for another inappropriate accent.
It's really hard to stand out in the crowd of e-retailers these days. I mean, think about it from your customer's perspective. They can buy the products you sell from a bazillion other retailers for pretty much the same price. Or they can hit up one of the giant pure plays for a few bucks less. And then there's the shipping. Your shipping options look just like everyone else's too. There's standard, and there's the pay more, get it faster options. Now, here's the thing about shipping. Consumers hate it. Did you know that shipping is the #1 reason for abandoned shopping carts? And that it's the most frequent complaint that customers make about their purchasing experiences. It's the last impression you get to leave a customer with. And if it's bad, well, that's bad. So, if you could figure out a way to make shipping amazing, you might just have a real leg up. Well, you're in luck. Shutl's here to help. Shutl's a delivery web service that gets products that are stocked in your local stores directly to your customers, super fast. As in like a matter of minutes. Yeah, for real. Shutl gives online shoppers the option of immediate delivery, or lets them choose a convenient hour-long window that fits in their busy lives. Now that's something that even pure plays can't compete with. There's obviously some serious rocket science going on behind the scenes, but basically, whenever a shopper sees the little rocket, they know they can get the item shuttled. And here's the best part. Customers who get their orders shuttled are way happier with their purchase experience, and way more likely to keep shopping and shuttling with you. So what are you waiting for? Let Shutl help you stand out in the crowd.
So the opportunity behind this business, as I'd seen it, was that, as Jack has already said, I'm going to say that a lot, consumers have been buying online for 2 decades, right? In that time, since the first e-commerce transaction, consumers have gone from, the web had gone from tens of thousands of pages being indexed by Yahoo to trillions of pages being indexed by Google. Buying online is a completely different experience. Today's consumer can find and purchase anything from anywhere in seconds. However, they must still wait a day or many days for delivery, which takes place at a time determined by a courier company and not by the end consumer. And delivery is the last interaction that a retailer has with their customer beyond the product's single greatest influence as to whether or not a consumer is going to shop more or less with a retailer in the future. Now, we also saw that there was an opportunity here to use delivery as a weapon against potentially the greatest threat that retail faces. So Amazon compete and win in 2 key battlegrounds where they have a structural advantage. And by that I mean price and range. They also compete on convenience, but I'm going to come back to that. Just to give everyone a sense of how unequal the battleground is here. Amazon have 1,000 times the range of the world's largest retailer. And they sell at a 20% discount to them. And they're able to do that because they're not limited by what they can fit in their stores. They're not even limited by what they can fit in their warehouses. They're limited by what their partners that sell through the Amazon marketplace can fit in their warehouses. And anything that happens to sell well through the marketplace is highly likely to end up in one of Amazon's own warehouses. It's kind of the world's best form of market research. These warehouses are located in the middle of nowhere, where land and labor are cheap. That one's up in Scotland. In the US, by the end of this year, they have about 50 of them. But again, located in areas where land and labor are cheap. Multi-channel retailers, conversely, need hundreds of thousands of stores, which have to be located near where their customers are, where land and labor is expensive. Now, this is nothing new, right? Amazon have never had stores. That's what it comes down to. But when Amazon, 10 years ago, when e-commerce was less than 1% of retail sales, it didn't really matter because multi-channel retailers had the buying power of their store estates. Right? Well, today, with e-commerce, and again, where everyone's varying slightly at penetration, but around 10% of retail sales, Amazon is selling at a 20% discount. Right? What do we think happen when we get to the 20% mark? Right? So, but the interesting thing is actually that over the last 5 years, the fastest growing trend in e-commerce, outstripping growth of pure play, has actually been around multi-channel, right? And has been around convenience, So think click and collect and sort of the same day offerings that ourselves and many others are offering. So we think that there is an opportunity here to differentiate against Amazon, because the big difference is, like, Amazon may increase their warehouses, but they're never going to end up with stores, right? There are two kinds of ways that e-commerce are delivered. 99.9% of e-commerce today fits into what we describe as hub and spoke. This is the Amazon model. You send one vehicle out on a route making collections, usually from a warehouse, but sometimes from a retailer's store. You bring back to a hub, you sort, distribute, and you send those deliveries out on multiple vehicles running on multiple delivery routes, usually the next day. Now, the reason that everyone uses hub and spoke for delivery is very simple. It is the only cost-effective way of sending something from A to B if the distance between A and B exceeds 10 miles. The interesting thing is, where the delivery distance is shorter, it can be cost-effective. Sometimes it can even be more cost-effective to send a courier straight from collection to delivery. The challenge is the guys that do the hub and spoke deliveries in the US, the USPSs, the FedExes, the UPS, and over here is the DPDs, Yodels, and the Royal Mail. They cannot do point-to-point. It's antithetical to their business model. The guys that do the point-to-point delivery in the US are these guys. There are 7,500 of them. These businesses are local rather than national. Their brands retailers don't know. Their brands consumers have never heard of. And individually, none of these businesses are big enough or national enough to serve the e-commerce delivery market. And that's where Shutl comes in. Shutl is an aggregator and secondary market for the existing capacity of the local point-to-point courier market. And we pull that capacity together into a technology platform, which we give our retail partners access to via an API. So Shutl's a branded fulfillment option, but offered within our retail partners' existing customer journeys. Right? Consumers do not buy anything from Shutl. They buy from our retail partners. And eBay is now one of those retail partners. And so I'll explain very quickly how it is that that kind of came about and where the opportunity is there. This is a slightly earlier version of the eBay Now app, which Jack was showing a few minutes ago. With the eBay Now app, so eBay acquired a business called Milo a few years ago. And Milo took stock information from local retailers and pulled it into an app. And it was trying to be kind of the Yelp of products. Let consumers see what products are in stores near them. But the problem is they didn't have any way of closing the loop. Well, after eBay acquired Milo, they built eBay Now on top of that infrastructure. And eBay Now worked in the same kind of way that many of the other services that Jack described worked, which was they had a bunch of couriers who were eBay couriers armed with credit cards who would go, when a consumer within the app found the product they want and purchased the product that they wanted, would go to the store armed with a credit card, make the purchase, and then deliver to the consumer without actually the knowledge of the retail partner. And we got a lot of learnings out of this. We actually closed this program down over the weekend. There are a couple of challenges that we found. Now, in its original form, with these valets, there was not enough volume for these guys to be able to get the cost of delivery down to a level that made it a sustainable business model. But the customer experience was awesome. So we're talking NPS in the 70s. It was clearly a service that our customers really, really wanted. The other thing that we learned is that our customers don't really shop by saying, what do I want now? Right? They shop by saying, what do I want? And then when can I get it? And we thought the opportunity about being able to solve the when problem was where the real opportunity within this market was. So actually in April this year, we replaced the eBay Now valets, as we called them, with the Shutl platform in the US. So Shutl now powers eBay Now in the US. I said we shut down the eBay Now app. Well, we've just turned eBay Now into, and we haven't talked about this anywhere yet, and again, it's happened over the weekend. We shut down the app, but turned eBay Now into a delivery option within eBay for any of our existing sellers to use. So if you purchase from big box retailer like Best Buy or an independent eBay seller like Brulo Shoes, you can offer eBay Now to you can be offered eBay Now to consumers, right? Within the traditional eBay experience. It enables delivery within minutes of purchase, or it lets the consumer choose a 1-hour delivery window, offered today or tomorrow for $5. And we're not the only ones doing this, right? Amazon have got an offering. Order by midday to get delivery by 9 p.m. Right? It's a 9-hour promise. We don't think that's necessarily that convenient, particularly in light of the other options are out there. And the reason for that, and the reason for the constraint they have, is they have to deliver from a warehouse. So the delivery distance is 99.9% of the time going to be above 10 miles. Google have got their offering, and a whole bunch of startups have also now entered the foray, several of which Jack talked about. So I won't talk any more about them. What I will do is I'm going to leave, normally whenever we kind of give a talk about what we're doing, everyone says kind of, do we really need this? Is it well, rather than me answering that, because I'm slightly biased, I'm going to let Louis C.K. explain why it is that same-day delivery, same-hour delivery is inevitable.
I was on an airplane and there was internet, high-speed internet on the airplane. That's the newest thing that I know exists. And I'm sitting on the plane, and they go, open up your laptop, you can go on the internet. And it's fast, and I'm watching YouTube clips. I'm in an airplane. And then it breaks down. And they apologize, the internet's not working. The guy next to me goes, this is bull. Like, how quickly the world owes him something he knew existed only 10 seconds ago. Right.
That's it.
Tom, we like London startup success stories. We like companies that come out of the UK and,
so do I.
And grow. Are you still a British company?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of our team are over here. Unusual at eBay, all of our product and engineering still happens here in the UK, which is over half the team. I spend a lot of time in the US, but I'm here at least a week a month.
So how do you keep the culture of a business when you have a new corporate parent?
That's a very good question. So the key, in my view, is to make sure that what you're doing is still meaningful. I think the big challenge that you have when you're absorbed into a much larger company is it becomes a lot more difficult to do things. And if you're not kind of attached to that end product, it becomes very challenging. You question, why you're here. And so for us, the key is about making sure that we still can keep control of that end product. And actually, in addition to the service that powers eBay Now, Shutl is still an independent business serving retailers with its own roadmap. So we think we've kind of got the best of both worlds, because we've got that startup piece, but we also have access to fantastic scale. I mean, eBay has hundreds of millions of buyers.
Good luck with the revolution. Congratulations and thank you.